first, but on the minutes, I'm proposing a change to 17. It was our discussion. The first item, second item last month on the nursing home project. We're gonna have minutes and not substitute the video and audio of our meetings as the official record. Then I think that the minutes ought to have some substance to them. Since we had a 21-minute discussion on that, I think we should say something in the minutes about that, other than the committee decided to table that resolution. So, got some proposed language here. We'll get this recorded. The minutes could simply say that there were 21 minutes of questions and dialogue focusing on the changing cost of the project at the nursing home floors 4 and 5 for the sheriff's project, and potential inconsistencies in the capital plan. Meeting was recorded, so everybody can go to that. We can refer people to that. But I think our minutes should have a little bit of substance in it. Okay. Do I have someone willing to accept that change? Motion? Joe, second, Mr. Clay. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor of accepting the minutes from last month?
Aye.
We're going to take current business first. Resolution number 373, amending resolution number 251A, 2011, to clarify various parts and establish that the Albany County Affirmative Action Plan applies to the county construction projects. We have a handout. We have our chairman here, whose resolution this is, to discuss it and to answer anybody's questions.
Thank you.
You want to say something first?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to talk a little bit, a brief outline, and then if anybody has any questions. Currently, the county requires apprenticeship programs to be in place for any bidder on any construction project, $250,000 and above. This requirement and price point does not change. What changes is the manner in which these contracts come before the body, and our body. The contract that makes it before committee is complete and in compliance with the policy, which we haven't been doing before. This has been a running problem since the inception of the current resolution in 2011, which resulted in 2 lawsuits. More importantly, it establishes that the affirmative action plan of the Albany County applies to all of our contracts, such contracts that these are applicable to. Something that should have always been occurring, but the results unfortunately suggest otherwise. Earlier today, a letter of support was sent to each of you from the trades who support this resolution. I ask that the body move it out with a favorable recommendation, as did the law committee this week.
Mr. Chairman, I just need to make a clarification for the members. The version of this that the law committee pushed forward had no amendments in it, so in the event that the committee votes on this tonight to move it forward, we'd have to make an amendment on the floor and vote on it that way in the full legislative meeting. What the law committee pushed out did not have these amendments.
And the law committee meet before the meeting and accept those amendments?
Mr. Chairman, there's no amendments being proposed at this time. That is solely just a description of the request of Mr. Bergdahl of the differences as it relates to 251.
So there are
There's
no amendments?
difference.
Oh, I thought there was a comment that there were amendments in this.
No, all right, so there's no amendment. To be clear, what's before the committee is identical to
So
what's
there's no amendments then?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. This is fair. I have a motion.
Oh, I've got a question.
No, you have a question. I was making a motion.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, thanks for coming. I appreciate the idea of trying to cultivate apprentice programs. Obviously, they have real value and they've been real benefit. Because, first of all, the $250,000 threshold, if somebody gets that and they want to subcontract for a lesser amount, the subcontractor would also be required to have apprentice programs. Is that correct?
The current law is what mandates 250, and that's the culmination of the entire contract. So if you have a $240,000 labor price and a $11,000 painting price in the same contract, you've hit 250. It's the culmination of all trades in the project. It's the cost of the project. So the breakdown doesn't really matter if a general contractor wants to sub out. It's the first question as to whether or not the resolution comes into effect is, what is the county spending on it?
So if a general contractor wanted to sub it out to a small fry, say a $30,000 contract.
Right, they do that all the time.
They wouldn't, that firm would not be able to get that contract if they did not have an apprentice program?
That is the current law, and that continues.
All right, so it's not just 250,000, it's even for these smaller contracts, they're really, they don't have an opportunity to get them.
It wouldn't, to be clear, it's the total amount of the entire contract that the county's spending. So if we got $1 million contract, all trades and all contracts within it are under the resolution. That's the current resolution, and that continues in this resolution.
My question is, what if you don't have an apprentice program, you're shut out of these contracts? And it doesn't matter, you can be a woman business, you can be a minority business, you can be a veterans business, you can be a disabled business. If you don't have an apprentice program, you are shut out of these contracts. How can you explain that as being fair to those people who would be subjected to
Well,
that?
you mentioned in your beginning of your comments how important it is we train the future trades workforce in the county.
Yep. But are you saying that these folks, are you saying not apprentice firms don't have skilled workers?
I'm not saying that. I can't speak for their skill one way or the other.
But how can you explain to them that this is fair, that they are shut out of bidding on these contracts?
Not everything we do is fair, I guess.
Well, shouldn't that be our goal?
Shouldn't that be our goal
I
to be fair?
think our goal with this is to bring the contracts that come before our body, for approval, into tolerance as it regards to our affirmative action program, service disabled veterans, MWBs. We haven't hit the target, but I think we need to continue to do more. It certainly doesn't hinder, our ability to do, more than we've done before, given our the pretty bad numbers that we do have in terms of what we have been able to approve. It's about training, the future workforce, skilled workforce, skilled trades, skilled labor on county projects. And I think that's something that I'm always going to promote, and I think that's something that people in the county care about.
But I don't understand this affirmative action, because you are shutting out small minority companies, women minority companies.
Who?
The companies that want to get contracts.
Who are these companies?
The companies that don't have apprentice programs. It's about 80% of the contractors in the county. All the firms that don't have apprentice programs are shut out of these bids. How can you say that's fair?
How can you make that statement?
What do you mean?
Who are these people?
You're making a statement they're shut out. Who?
Anyone who wishes to.
Well, you're saying anyone, but you're
Anyone.
saying contractors.
Are you saying there's no contractors?
I don't know that, but you're saying there's contractors are shut
Who
out.
are they?
The ones that don't have every single one that doesn't have an apprentice program. They are shut out from this bidding.
What contractors are we talking about? Who doesn't have an apprenticeship program? Who doesn't have a training program? That we haven't, that doesn't meet the threshold, that meet the requirement that we've had in place already?
The non-union ones, they don't have apprentice programs, and most of these firms are
Well,
non-union.
if they're not training, their workers, they're not training, they're developing their people. Are these? Do we want to do business with folks that just put anybody on the job, that don't know what they're doing, that don't have the skills, that haven't been trained, that haven't been through a training program? I don't know if those are the type of contracts that we should be, awarding and putting to work, in the county.
Well, I do think there's skilled workers who are not union, or non-union, and I think this is a slap to them, because you just insinuated that they're not skilled.
I'd like to know who they
If
are.
I could very briefly, the state has set up regulations and standards for the apprenticeship programs that they license and register. We're working towards that goal, to hire individuals who have registered and licensed and regulated apprenticeship programs, as opposed to, I have a pool of laborers. There is a difference there.
Distinct one.
I'd like to make a motion to move this.
I'd like to be
I'll second
recognized
that
first,
motion.
Mr. Chairman.
We have other questions first, I'm sorry. Mr. Bendick.
Thank you. Just to clarify, so I understand, we have this $250,000 contract. General contractor takes the $200,000, subs out $50,000. Are both entities, the contractor and the subcontractor, required to have an apprenticeship program? Or if the general contractor has an apprenticeship program, then it satisfies the requirement?
Okay, under the state law, realistically, the general contractor takes the whole contract and he subs it out amongst himself. But under the state law, it would be, and under the current resolution that's in effect, all trades need an apprenticeship program, so the general and the subs.
So in this case, in the $250,000 project, subcontractor is taking 200,000, subs out 50, there would be 2 apprenticeship programs.
Well, again, I'm not splitting hairs, but the general contractor takes the whole contract. He may have subs that he's paying $50,000 to, but he's taking the whole contract in this scenario. All trades are required, sub and general, are required under the current law and under New York State law, which allows us to do this. Under the current law, they would need it. This changes nothing.
I'm still as confused as before.
Any trade, any sub.
I understand the
No change in
concept.
current.
There's no change in current policy.
Mr. Bergeron.
That is, the way you described it, I don't necessarily agree with, but what I think you intend, that would be the current policy, yes.
Okay.
First of all, thank you very much for providing a line copy. It makes it much more,
Where are my gummy bears?
you got your gummy bears.
Where are they?
I gave them to Benicia. He didn't give them to you?
Whoa, there's free gummy bears?
It's the case. Captain Queeg had strawberries. This is the case of the missing gummy bears.
Did you get your question answered, Mr. Bergdorf?
Excuse me?
Your question answered?
No, I didn't get it started, actually. I have tremendous respect for the chairman, and I know he comes from a lifelong union home and a proud union household, and his dad was a great union leader, legislative leader, and politician.
I wouldn't be sitting here.
That's right, you wouldn't. And I understand completely the desire to fight for union labor. I understand it. But when you, when people don't realize that 80% of the construction industry is non-union, 80%. Here's a list of, if anybody wants to take a spin through it, the 500 subcontractors in the capital region. It's one of the largest chapters in the country. I bet 80% of them are non-union. There's also a list of MBE contractors here, probably about 75 or 100 of them, and I will bet you that 99% of them are non-union, except some of the WBEs who inherited their husband's business and they were big enough to be union. They're probably the primary exceptions. So when you have I feel as though I have a responsibility to speak up for the 80% of the people in the construction industry that aren't allowed to do business on Albany County contracts. And so, in the last 2 years, we asked the county executive to do an analysis for us of our M and WBE program. Well, it's pretty sad. On main contracts, I think there were 3 awards to 2 firms. It's right here. And on cab, there were 3 tiny awards to 3 firms. That's the sum and total of our MBE program. I guess our goals in our affirmative action program, which I've had the privilege to talk to Bill about, and we've tried to work together on, are 5 and 7. That's 12% goal. You know, the state of New York at Capitol Center achieved 30% MWBE construction participation. And they did it with Gilbane, our contractor at the nursing home. But you know what the difference was? They had substantial flexibility in their contracts. They told Gilbane to put together packages that small and minority contractors could actually bid. So the little painting guy could get a $100,000 contract. The guy from Cohoes could get a little piece of a sheetrock contract. And that businesses from around the capital region could actually share in a small part in a major capital construction project. But through the wisdom of this body, before I got here, and I promised, one of the things, I got 30 years in the construction industry, and I've represented, truth be told, the group that I just handed the book on. I used to run the Subcontractors Trade Association, Northeastern Subcontractors, and we had union and non-union contractors, and the philosophy always was competition, fair competition, equal playing field. Unfortunately, we don't have that here in Albany County. So we end up with unbelievably small MBE participation, where I work for a state construction agency. We didn't require apprenticeship programs. Did billions of dollars worth of construction all over the state. Where communities wanted us to, we established a PLA like they did at the nursing home. Then you can negotiate and you can actually tweak minority participation. Bill's son was a master at doing that in projects all over the state of New York. I worked with him. Most successful MBE program in the state. There's a lot we can do if we really want to make an effort.
We need to move this.
And, excuse me, this is an important public policy for Albany County. And, I have no illusions that this is not going to pass. But what I am going to do is I am working on a set of exceptions for minority contractors, MWBEs, WBEs, veterans, business enterprises, and lo and behold, you're not going to believe this one, small majority firms. Smaller firms, just domiciled in Albany County. So maybe they could actually participate in some little pieces of work. The other thing that this does, and I realize Council told me yesterday that he didn't feel that it was such, was there are changes made to the definition of a construction contract. There's new language that was added that says the county, or new language, or any of its department or agencies. And, the county and subcontractors, I understand that. I guess, Mr. Chairman, I was told that this doesn't include the IDA, this doesn't include the capital, the CRC, this doesn't include, there are about 4 or 5 other things. Is that accurate? Is this just county contracts, or are we now expanding mandated labor to industrial development agencies?
It's it's contracts for the construction of properties involved.
Okay.
And things like that. There's a hair you're splitting.
Okay.
The IDA and the CRC are incorporated under a different set of rules than the county law.
Albany County signed an agreement with Soldier On to build a lease some land for a $40 million project. It will be the death knell for Soldier On if that is required to be done union. Won't happen. They'll never get financing. No, but this
It's not union, it is apprenticeship program.
apprenticeship, but
It
the,
would be illegal for it to be union. I just wanted all
okay,
people to
excuse
know
me.
that would be illegal.
the way the definitions are here, approved apprenticeship programs are 99 and 44% sponsored by the unions of the state of New York. There aren't private internship programs. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, are we expanding it to other
Do a resolution on that.
entities? Do we know the answer to
They
that?
shut us down.
And I can't speak for it.
If we have a contract with Soldier On, is it included?
Now he's speaking here.
This already is in place, Soldier On did the contract.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta limit it. This is ridiculous.
They're doing.
I was cut off.
But you asked who owned the building, we're owning the building.
Are we assigning on the contract? That's literally the
I guess
definition.
these are the kinds of questions
That is
He's
explicit
lying.
law.
This is already in place.
I guess,
Soldier On did the contract, been on the
You know.
line knowing that this was the rule.
you have my concerns. I'm gonna send out to the people of this committee tomorrow just some thoughts that I have for exemptions. And I will tell you, the trades aren't going to like them. You know why? Because people other than the building trades would actually get work. People in districts predominantly who need to have entree to capital and business might actually get some business. So if people are going to judge this by, is it going to make the trades happy? No, it won't. It won't. But someone's got to stand up for the other 80% of the people who have kids that they got to feed and send to college, et cetera, and they don't get any, they're not able to compete.
Chairman,
All right. I have a motion to report favorably by Ms. Willingham, seconded by Mr. Higgins, O'Brien, and all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, just let it be noted that I have a concern about this. I'm going to abstain from voting on this. And I spent a good part of my career trying to help minority and women contractors. If there's any hint that a resolution passed by this body might prevent them from getting some work, I'm not voting for it. So I'm not voting against it, but I'm going to abstain from voting because my conscience tells me that I'm not against the trade unions, but I'm not necessarily, I'm not sure about this, so just please, I'm abstaining from vote, please.
So, resolution passes favorably by what, 4 to? 5-3. Okay. 4 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, number 16, resolution 376, public hearing on proposed law, local R, that was tabled in law. 17, amending the County of Albany's contract with the Energy Improvement Corporation to allow for incorporation of pay and receive PACE financing. Questions?
what's PACE financing?
Question is, what is PACE financing? Ms. Willingham.
Sure, so to answer your question, PACE financing is a program that the county runs in conjunction with the state to offer financing to commercial and nonprofit property owners to undertake clean energy or energy efficiency upgrades on their properties. Do you want me to sort of?
Any motion? Mr. O'Brien, second, Mr. Higgins, all those in favor? Aye. No, thank you. Sheriff? 18. 13. So we're not doing previous business yet. All right, so 18.
Does he have 18, 19, and 20?
All right, so current business we're doing, 18. Hi, Sheriff, welcome.
Good evening.
Authorizing the acceptance of grant funding from the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2017 HAZMAT grant and amending the 2018 Sheriff Department's budget.
Mr. Chairman, this is $150,000 we receive so far. It's been annually. This is for a 4-county team. It gets spread out for equipment, things that are needed throughout the 4 counties to make sure that we're prepared for hazardous materials incidents.
Motion? Mr. Bryan, second, Ms. Willingham, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Number 19, also the sheriff, amending the 2018 correctional facility budget operational expenses.
Mr. Chairman, I need to shift some money around, $61,000 in total. It's not new money, it's money that's already been appropriated. With the interest, or with the sewage rates going up, that has hit us. So I need to meet current and anticipated moves in refuse, auto repairs, sewer charges, and housekeeping supplies.
Motion, Mr. Brian, seconded by Mr. Higgins. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Have a nice night.
We got 20, authorizing the acceptance of grant funding from the New York State Department of Homeland Security regarding the 2017 critical infrastructure. Sheriff, I think we got this.
The sheriff has number 13, if you want to.
Who has, doesn't he have 22?
No.
No, top part of Public Works, gotcha, okay.
Can we do 13?
Can we do 13?
Got 13, you also have Clarksville, right?
Clarksville?
That's number,
13 revolves. That's Andrew Rami Architects.
I know that has to do with that. What about Clarksville? Isn't that on here too?
My
Number
table,
four.
all right. I
Number
tabled
four.
Clarksville, and Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you. All right, then, so number 4 is being tabled at the request of Sheriff. Number 13, from previous business, amending Resolution 99 for 2016. This is the Andrami Architects,
Sheriff's office?
floors 4 and 5. We doing anything on this? Greg? Sheriff, is this being tabled?
Sheriff.
Number 13, it's the 4th and 5th floor.
So it's not Clarksville?
You just tabled that one.
All right.
So we're all set on that. So now,
I've asked that architect contract be tabled because of the delays. I don't know if I'm going to be able to look at 2021 to 2022. So rather than get into that, if that's the case and it's 2021, I've got plenty of time to go forward with the architect. But at this point, I would rather table that and look at...
That was one of the questions of the committee, when you were going to be able to finally start working on it.
Yeah, well,
Based on the other
I've been given a couple dates, but so far all of the dates are way out. And I honestly cannot, I
So
just
do you
can't
have
do
any
that.
other location that you're,
I've got 3 or 4 locations after the article
Might be
ran,
able to move quicker
after
on
the
this?
article ran Sunday. I've actually got an influx of phone calls from properties that we never even thought of. But, you know, it's more than just property. It's about, you know, having the right infrastructure in place without having to build our own infrastructure to get there. So we're looking for double redundancy for fiber and auxiliary power and...
so that's why a place like Clarksville might be ruled out because it doesn't have the...
Well, no, Clarksville actually has, Clarksville is a whole separate animal than the nursing home. Clarksville is strictly for the police department. They've got double redundant fiber. We've already taken care of all of that. The nursing home, though, with the delays, that's where 911 is going. Well, was going.
Well, you can't go to Clarksville?
No, there's nowhere near enough room
Okay.
to put a dispatch center.
So you're looking at other places?
Yes,
Clarksville's out for that. Nursing home is still on the table, but you don't know how long it's going to take.
right.
So now you're looking at a couple other places.
Right, but Clarksville was only tabled because the county law and the school have got to go over some structural issues.
Structural, who's going to pick
Right.
that? I understand that. Okay, so that's being tabled at your request. 13 also.
So is
Any
this,
other, what, Ms. Williams?
so is this totally off the table for the nursing?
No, it's not totally off the table, but I've got 3 years to consider it based on the current expectation of construction. So there's no reason for me to dive into this right now and get a contract where that poor guy isn't going to even be able to start work for 3 or 4 years. So at this point, it's kind of a last-ditch option for me is the nursing home if I can't get in there to 2021 or 2022. I mean, I've got issues with the city of Albany we're trying to work out. We're expanding ourselves like leaps and bounds with technology and call volume. So right now I've got upwards of 19 people crammed in 1,000 square feet. So we are looking at other options. We're looking at SUNY Poly, we're looking at State DOT. Green Island called down with a building. Actually, Central Ave bid called this week on a building with 20,000 square feet. But we can't just jump, you know, just because it's cheap. We want to make sure we've got the proper infrastructure. So if there's a break, we still have calls flowing one way or the other.
Sheriff, I saw your article in the T on this, I think, last week. You're saying that there's no way of you moving in while they're constructing, the whole construction has to be completed before you get there?
And that was the initial idea was, you know, okay, you know, get the people up 4th and 5th floor, we'll take care of it, start construction. But what we found out later on is that DOH is adamant about us not getting in there until all of the patients or all of the residents are out of there,
So that's
which
why you
makes
have-
sense.
That's why you have to look at other options because
So
of the delay?
with the delays, now we're gonna have to start to look. I mean, I've talked to the county exec, this is no fault to anybody. I mean, I'm not pointing fingers because I think DOH is kind of, you know, throwing a, you know, bit of a fly in the ointment.
I see.
So now we're forced to look at other options. But the state has come up with a couple great ideas, and we're also looking at reallocating some grant funding. So if in fact we have to lease, there's a good option out there of getting in there and having the grant cover our rent, which would kind of be a win-win for everybody.
That's good. Good.
Thank you.
Are you sure that's it?
Thank you.
Work it out. Thank you very much.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you,
Randy.
Sheriff, very briefly, on an unrelated topic, do you have any revenue estimates for how much the ICE detainees at the jail is going to bring into the county?
If you take out the overtime that we're expending right now and the $3 a day for food, we're looking at about low 20,000s a day net for the county.
Per day?
Initially we were upwards to 30,000, but we've had some removed. So right now we're hovering around 250 from ICE and a dozen from Rikers. So with those combined and take the overtime out, again, take all of that out, we're looking at around low 20,000 net a day.
Great. Thank you for your effort there. It's really commendable and laudable project, I think, what you're doing out there.
Any other questions from members, non-members? Thank you, Carol.
Thank you
Have a
again.
nice night.
Back to 20 on current business. This is another Homeland Security grant regarding the 2017 Critical Infrastructure Grant and amending the 2018 Department of Public Works.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, we came in front of you a couple months ago to ask permission to apply for this grant. We were awarded the full $50,000 that we applied for. This is going for the security bollards in front of the Times Union Center to block off Pearl Street.
Okay, questions?
Motion move.
Motion, Mr. Joyce, second, Mr. Bergdorf, all those in favor? Unanimous. 21, amending resolution number 154 for 2018 regarding additional grant funding from the New York State Office of Alcoholism and Substance Use amending the 2018 Department of Mental Health budget.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Committee. This is an amendment to request to the 2018 budget. We were here in April to talk to you about an award we got from Oasis. It's 100% state funding. We actually weren't happy with the amount that they gave us, and we've spent the last few months trying to get some more. And they awarded us $89,000 to this grant, which will, again, 100% state funded, will go towards the open access project, which will have a soft launch in September.
Well, where is this?
Well, we're partnering with the ACCA, the Addiction Care Center of Albany, and Catholic Charities Project Safe Point, in addition to the Department of Mental Health. And we're going to have 24/7 folks in the community. There's a van that goes with this as well.
Oh, so it's a van?
It's a mobile outreach, and people will be brought back to the ACCA programs for hopefully immediate entry into treatment programs.
So where's ACCA?
90 McCarty Avenue. They have a campus there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Motion, Mr. Hagan, second, Mr. Joyce, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
All right. District Attorney's budget, 2018 administrative adjustments. It was already approved in law, now it's already finance. What are we doing here?
We are just moving $7,500 from one line that we haven't spent the entire amount for the entire year into our temp help line so that we can continue to hire some temporary help to get through the end of the year.
What's the temporary help area that you need temporary help in?
Our investigative services. We have one investigator that retired early in the year and used the rest of his encumbered, line is encumbered with his buyout. And so it's a little bit negative. I think we spent over by maybe $100 or $200 with his buyout, so we can't hire until the end of the year, and so we need to hire some temporary help there.
Motion, Mr. Joyce, second, Mr. O'Brien, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
23, authorizing the agreement with the New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services regarding the counsel at first appearance grant and amending the 2018 public defender budget.
I apologize, the public defender couldn't make it tonight, but on his
So you're
behalf.
covering a lot of different areas tonight.
So this is the second round of the counsel at first arraignment grant. The first round was a successful program that provides counsel at arraignment outside of regular court hours. Basically, you have public defender attorneys who are paid a small stipend to be on call during those hours. During the course of the first 3-year grant, although it was successful, they found a couple improvements could be made. So one change in this version is there will be one full-time attorney who will be located at the correctional facility who will be able to provide arraignment during regular work hours, which basically this will allow other public defenders, attorneys to focus on the clients that they're working on during the day.
Questions?
Just real quick. So, at one point, I just remember discussion where somebody raised some issues on homeless people who, are out there on the street or something, and they wind up, are they part of this indigent population that we're talking about here?
In this instance, I believe if someone is arraigned, then they would be, wherever that occurred, that is where the...
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
If they motion?
Motion.
Second.
William Higgins, seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 23, thank you. It's filling in. Authorizing an agreement with QC/QA Laboratories Incorporated for testing and special inspection services regarding the renovation project at the Albany County Nursing Home.
Yes, how are you, Mr. Chairman? I'm Andy Lucarelli, Building Superintendent of the Nursing Home. Yeah, we're asking to go into a contract with QC/QA Laboratories to perform special inspections such as steel testing, concrete.
So I understand this is already in the budget.
It's all budgeted.
But where did the money come from?
It's from our bond. It was part of the original.
Thank you. It is a bond.
Yes. Yeah, everything, it was all included in it. It's anticipated.
Bergdorf,
Move
it, seconded by O'Brien. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. 25, rescinding the transfer of 62 Park Avenue to the Albany County Land Bank for resolution number 506 of 2017 and authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 62 Park Avenue in the city of Albany. Mike can say.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just correcting the record due to the previous authorization and transferring to an adjacent property owner.
Motion.
This is the one across the street from the...
There was a large fire on Park Avenue several years
Park
ago,
Avenue.
burned
Yes.
down, I want to say 3 or 4 row houses. I actually lived in the neighborhood at the time.
Okay.
This is the middle lot. I want to say last month, the month before, one adjacent owner purchased it. The other one is already owned by an adjacent owner, so this is that middle lot.
Okay, motion?
Motion.
Higgins, O'Brien seconding. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. 26, authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 18 White Street in the city of Cohoes.
Yes, always defer to the locality. Locality's requested this property.
Motion?
Motion.
O'Brien, seconded by Higgins. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. 27, authorizing the conveyance of real property known as Bayberry Lane in the city of Cohoes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this one actually, in the spirit of deferring to the locality, there's a municipally owned parcel in the vicinity. They've requested that we table this for the month just for consideration.
Okay.
Table that request of the municipality. Authorizing, number 28, authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 355 and 357 Elk Street in the city of Albany.
Yeah, just an adjacent property owner requested this property for a price that seemed reasonable, something we should put to the legislature for consideration.
Just to say that again, is it 2 pieces of property?
Yes, these are 2 pieces of properties, but it's directly adjacent to the requester's parcel.
Where? These 2 are right next to one another.
Yes, these 2 are right next to each other. There's a map in the backup. It'll show you how they interact with the adjacent. It is kitty corner, I want to say, but they are in connection. Yeah. Oh, it's not highlighted, that's why. Okay, I apologize, right? So if you look at the corner of Robin and Elk, there's a very large parcel on the corner there. It's got a little bit of a bend to it, it's 355. And then there's 2 other parcels on Robin.
You said Robin and Elk?
Yes, the requester's property that he owns is on apologies, Judson. So where's the map? Where's it on the map?
Oh, Judson's nowhere in there.
Judson is,
You got Elk and Robin. Orange and
The
Sherman.
owner, so the owner sent from a different address than he owns. He owns, I want to say, he's requesting 355 and 357, and he owns on Robin, number 32. So if you notice that line, he does not own 27, that's directly on the corner of Elk and Robin, but he does own 32, 357, and 355 on Elk are the ones that he requested.
What's the one for sale?
The ones he's requesting, those are 357 and 355. He owns 32 Robin.
he owns a house or the lots?
He owns a
Is
house
everything-
on Robin and they're lots on Elk.
Jason,
Yes.
why we're not doing it at the land bank, because this is contiguous property and
That's a real big piece. I mean, I know where this is, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, you know.
They're row house lots right now. The land bank is selling them for $100. The requester offered $2,000. So that's why we put it to the legislature for consideration. I understand if you're not so inclined, in which case we can send it to the land bank, that's fine.
What's our policy? What's
And he
our
does live
policy
here?
been?
This man lives in New Jersey?
I'm not sure.
His letter was signed from Judson Street, but he does own Robin Street.
clarification by majority council.
Just to be clear for the members, this individual is offering $500 more than this land is valued at. Just to be clear on that.
Okay.
We're getting more than the land is worth.
Okay, so am I to understand though, that the address that I see for the current owner is in New Jersey?
Judson, not Jersey.
Judson Street.
Judson in the city of Albany.
What is that?
So
I'm lost.
he owns a couple properties in the city of Albany. Per his letter of request, from which he sent the letter, is 16 Judson Street in the city of Albany.
But
He also owns 32 Robin Street. He has building permits currently out on that property, and he's requesting the two properties on Elk Street that we mentioned, 357 and 355.
So does he live in New Jersey?
No.
So who lives in New Jersey? It says current owner. Maybe I was looking at something else.
That was the person who was foreclosed upon.
Person who is
Foreclosed upon that we took.
yes, okay, yeah, the records of the previous owner, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, legislator Williams. Yeah, if you're looking at the delinquency, what was extinguished, right, that was from New Jersey, but that is not related in any way to the requester of the property. That's just the previous owner.
So who's buying?
Proposed purchaser is offering to buy more, pay more than the land is valued, according to council, by $500. I want to make sure that other people in the area, other owners have been informed of this, otherwise we're sending it to the land bank. I'm not gonna go
We do not canvass, no.
What?
There was no canvassing of the neighborhood, no.
Well, this is an issue we had up in Bern or Knox or wherever it
Yeah.
was, when the other people in the area weren't given an opportunity they didn't even know that it was for sale. So I just want to make sure that other people know that this is.
No.
and
We
have
received a
chance to make-
request that was of the amount that you mentioned, and therefore, in order to, we always defer to the
Back
legislature
up
in
a
terms of
second,
that.
why,
Yes,
why now is this coming before us?
because we received a request letter for the property.
But the property was foreclosed on.
Correct.
By the county,
Yes,
there's a number of other lots in the area.
yes.
And they've been there for a while.
No, this is a recent foreclosure.
Oh.
My concern is that other people have not been informed. of
Duly
this in the
informed.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
We
we
have
have
this
somebody,
is the same
and we have
position
somebody
as-
who's not a resident there, apparently.
They're a resident of the
they
city
live
of
nearby-
Albany. They're
Yes, but they don't live there.
Correct. They don't
Right?
live, they don't
So
live at
they
the
have multiple
address that's
properties.
adjacent, that's correct.
Who's trying to buy this property? What's the name of it?
The name is Dilip Rathore of 16 Judson Street, Albany.
No, I think it's great that someone's willing to offer more than apparently it's worth, but I just want to make sure that
district
other
is that?
people, maybe there's other bidders out there.
That's entirely boss,
If there's no great rush on this, then I don't see any reason why we can't discuss it a little bit more. Maybe this only has to get some questions answered and some people can be canvassed.
Whose district is this?
My question.
Send out a notice.
I was confused about
the New Jersey.
Yeah.
Our normal policy would be, it would go to the land bank unless we get
More.
an interesting
The old
law.
days used to be.
That's correct.
Tip with a map.
But
And the
also
land
part of
bank
that
has
policy-
up to this point always appreciated when we can dispose of challenging parcels for them, which are always empty lots in the city of Albany.
Okay, but Habitat for Humanity doesn't want to buy it, vacant lots?
Habitat, whenever there's a lot available, always approaches us. We've
So you haven't gotten
transferred.
anything from?
No, no. We've transferred dozens of lots to Habitat in the past.
Doesn't our policy say we give first shot to an adjoining owner? Is this guy an adjoining owner?
No.
Yes.
Well,
An abutting owner?
He doesn't live there. That's the difference.
He's an adjoining owner.
Is he a landlord?
There's no distinction there, right?
Yeah, there's no. It has been in practice.
I think.
It's not an owner occupant,
That's correct.
it's landlord?
I believe so, yeah. We always run.
Good to get properties back on.
We always run a code check on anyone that we put forth for authorization, and he has no code issues, and he has building permits out on the other property, so
So everything looks
Maybe.
clean and good, and so.
it could be future occupant.
Do any
future
members
landlord.
have any objections to moving this out? We can still, think about it again when it gets to the floor, so. You wanna, you wanna move it? So I have
I'll make a motion to move.
Mr. Joyce, seconded by Mr. Grimm, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Yes, I just want to say something. Before we sell West Hill, Arbor Hill, and West End and North Albany to these out, we understand that we have a problem. And so that the housing stock not only has diminished, but I'm bothered by the fact that when these two lots were put together, a house could have been built. Okay, when you tear down one lot, we know it's not, presently, they're not large enough to build a house.
Put two together.
But when it's two, a new home can be built. And so, I'm concerned when I see the same names over and over again, the same people are buying up the neighborhoods that I represent. And so I just wanna throw that out there, because, we're looking for ways to do something about the housing, the critical housing issue that exists in the city of Albany, okay? And there are certain things when it's time for redistricting, when it's time to begin to look at the census and so forth and so on, we're going to be adversely impacted, by all of this. And I'm really concerned about seeing the same people buying this, getting access to this property. It's scary to me.
So Ms. Willingham, is part of the problem that the land bank does not want these properties?
Pardon me?
Is part of the problem that the land bank does not want these properties according to what you said, they don't want vacant lots?
It's not a matter of not wanting them, it's a matter of them having a difficult time dispensing of them.
Right.
They have never said they don't want them.
Okay.
It's just that when they get them, they have a very hard time getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Because, and by the way, let's say, it's a concern that we share, when blight and decay occurs in these neighborhoods, we end up foreclosing on more. Blight and decay begets more blight and decay. Tax delinquency does not cause, we've studied this over many years. Blight and decay is the problem, 100% understood.
Okay, to be continued.
Thank you.
We're on to number 29, authorizing a correction of the tax rolls for the city of Albany.
Just a correction of the tax rolls with the water board in the city of Albany.
Motion by Mr. Joyce, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor? Unanimous. Now we'll go back to previous business. Resolution number 79 was tabled into law.
Item number 1, we're on, Mr. Chairman, is actually going to be withdrawn.
withdrawn.
Correct, by the sponsor.
Number 2, resolution number 1.
Ralph and a whole bunch of other ones.
Can be tabled, Mr. Chairman?
2 is tabled.
Second one is table, that's number cross. 3 is sprinkler, tabled at the request of the sponsor, tabled in law.
We'll move it.
4 was tabled already by the sheriff, requested that. 5, resolution requiring equality of funding regarding the Albany County Legislative Grants Program. The sponsor is not here.
That's right here.
Hey, there he is, sitting at the table.
I introduced myself to you earlier, but didn't know my name.
Look here.
I introduced myself earlier to you, you didn't know I was.
Where are you?
John.
What?
Rain, please.
What?
It's getting very late.
All right.
Everybody's a little tired.
Is he speaking?
Pardon?
Yeah, that's, I didn't sit here listening to you guys talk for the
Oh,
last hour
no,
and a
no,
half.
no, I was just wondering.
Usually we have-
When you gonna start, that's all.
I'm gonna stay in God's country.
A long time. We'd like you to sit down at the head of the table while you, the cameras are on.
I don't need that. This is very simple. This is asking that the grants we give out every year, that every district be allowed the same amount of, if we have the program. If we continue the program, every legislative district, there's 39 legislative districts, and the money, whatever the total money is, it be divided among the 39. And I'm not looking for favorable, unfavorable, I ain't looking for nothing other than sending out to the full member. No, I'll go to the full membership where it counts.
Motion
No, with
to,
this,
grab a motion
I would
to-
definitely go for favorable. I'm looking at all political appointments here, I can't do that. How's that?
Political appointment.
So. There are no motions on.
I got a question.
Mr. Bendick,
I'll make a motion to send it out favorable.
I got a question.
Mr. Joyce has a question?
Yeah. So, Gil, I like
Yeah,
this.
I'm sorry.
Just quick question.
Sure.
39 equal shares. So if I don't have anybody submit for my shares and all the applications go in and the chair pays them out, there's a 1/39th of the total pot that isn't paid out. What's the intention there?
No, it says right there that we could team up, some other district could team up with you. If I have nobody like in my area,
What if I
you have
choose not?
somebody there, I can give it to you or some other member, or vice versa.
What if I don't? What if one person doesn't team up? What if Chris or Wanda or somebody doesn't? I'm just curious how.
Well, they don't want to team up, I think that'd be,
I mean, there might be some.
I mean, there'd be somebody in the legislature would do something like that?
No, I'm just saying somebody might not have.
Oh, I understand, I didn't think that issue, but no, I don't think it would happen, but no. It's a good intent thing, it's just that every district would guarantee you.
Has there ever been a problem with this before?
It ain't about problems, it's about transparency and making things look good. And I think it's nice to know every district can get some of the money they want. If not, they can give it to Chris, or Wanda, or
Well,
Bill.
transparency. What do you mean by transparency?
What I just said, I'm in here to answer questions, I'm talking to these guys. I don't care, I already told the committee, I'm only here to get this in or out. That's all, Jesus. Guys, I don't want to listen, you guys want to play games, I want to get it out there, hold on.
Motion to report favorably.
Favorably,
Anybody
I'm
want to
fine.
second that or not? Clay is going to second this. Okay, we have a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion defeated.
So now does it go out to the committee?
No.
It don't go out to the membership?
No. You can make another.
You just said you didn't care.
No, when I said we care to get it out there, that's all.
Chris,
I want it out there.
Count of the vote.
Mr. Chairman, I move to send it out with no recommendation.
Yeah, we need a count of the no votes on the last favorable.
Out there.
I'll vote.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So where are we? Oh, you got that
So
vote?
that was defeated.
Okay.
And now, if someone has another motion,
Which Mr. Mendy does, which he
Okay.
says to report it not favorably?
No,
Or to
no recommendation.
recommendation, we have a second on that? So now Mr. Griffin.
Staff tells me this is going to greatly negatively impact the grant program if we decide to continue to do it. We can make our decisions here.
so you have a seconded motion.
Yes, and now we have to take a vote on this, a motion to report without recommendation. All those in favor of reporting without recommendation, so signify by raising your hand or saying aye. We have one,
Aye.
two in favor of that, opposed? Mr. Clay, where are you?
I'm not voting.
Abstaining?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 5 to 2 to 1? Correct?
Yes.
Are there any other motions? Being none?
Gil, you should invoke the 60-day rule now.
That's my intention.
So say that.
Oh, you gotta tell them, I thought you know,
Tabled by the committee.
60-day rule, please.
Motion to table by the committee.
It's gotta come out.
Seconded by Mr. Joyce.
It's gonna get out there to the public.
All those in favor of
Not the same.
I'm just asking what that means.
Mr. Higgins?
What are we voting on?
Tabling it.
Committee is tabling it.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the
So-
60-day rules, if you
so
don't move it within 60 days, it's gotta go back to the floor.
Would it go directly to the floor, or does it have to come back to the committee?
It comes back to this committee, it's got, it's got a right.
What was that, excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
So, just to be clear for the committee, because it has now been tabled hostily by the committee, when this reappears in the September meetings, Mr. Ethier has a right to move this out one way or another.
Which I will do, yeah.
But it won't necessarily be referenced to this committee again, right?
No, it will be, this is it.
Okay, it's not voting, we're still 60 days though. Could be
Number 6, resolution number 280, authorizing Albany County participation. Ralph.
Yes, sir. I'm currently working with the majority council on this. This will be tabled at my request.
State doesn't do this anymore.
They do wind up giving the waivers. which we're
And it's
looking at.
also, the state sales tax is 4%, not 4.25.
Correct. There are some things that we're going
To
on.
be clear, Mr. Signoracci is focusing on the local taxes form half. the state.
So it's actually going to be a 4% reduction on
Local
all
tax, 4%.
year-round,
Local,
360.
4%.
4%. Correct.
So that's being tabled while you're working on it. Thank you.
Correct.
Number 7, resolution 333, appealing resolution number 445 of 2016, establishing a policy regarding other charges transferred to Albany County on delinquent tax bills.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, this is yours. Number 333.
One.
Those tabled, those
You
are.
want to table that here? Tabled at the request of the sponsor.
Number 7.
Number 8, resolution number 336, requesting the county executive to conduct a
Yeah.
feasibility study regarding the impact of paying all county employees at a minimum rate of $15 an hour, longevity notwithstanding.
So we wound up, I spoke with you, Mr. Chair, on that. I would be open to the friendly amendment to change feasibility, not only in the title, but in the language for whatever you so desire, and I would be looking for this to be moved out with.
Conduct a study, you don't need to have feasibility.
Well, you can
Conduct a study.
conduct a study, cost analysis.
Motion.
This has already been passed in personnel in its current form.
And now it's being amended by the sponsor.
It's up to you. I offer that up if you want to put it out as is, instead of having a post-public forum and,
To make them consistent after minimum.
correct, so.
Can we hear comments of the council, please?
Yeah, we're going to amend them on the floor.
Sure. So this was already passed out of personnel, the personnel committee without the amendments. If the committee here is going to vote on an amendment, we're going to have to then vote on the floor to amend this consistent with how we amended in this committee.
Unless Law can take it up again before the meeting. We report it as amended right now.
Personnel's already voted on it without any amendments.
We'll do it on the floor.
Motion.
I have a question.
Mr.
Motion is
Signoracci,
on the amendment.
Mr. Grimm?
Oh, sorry.
where are you getting $50 per hour? Because that's not the upstate,
Thank you for the-
minimum wage is gonna go up to $12.50 upstate, so I'm wondering where you got the 50.
I just wound up, wanted $15. I wanted to see what it would cost. So just,
Mr. Grimm, would you like to see other numbers in there?
No, I'm just wondering,
It's just
he's not basing it on the minimum wage
Well, you need to know how many employees, and you multiply it by $15, so there's a study.
well, I'd like to know what the cost is.
Hmm?
So I'd like to know what the cost is.
Well, and then you multiply it in your.
Well, I would like the executive to wind up doing it, unless that you want to do it as chair of the committee.
You're
And
doing all employees, union and non-union.
absolutely.
And
They can break it down however they wanted to do it.
Mr. Budget Director, do you have a handle on this, Commissioner?
I think it's something that can be accomplished. As for a handle, do I have an estimate?
Do you want to
in my
submit
head or
that as
anything
part
of
of
that
the
nature?
budget? You want to submit that as part of the budget, the number of employees who are currently making less than $15 an hour?
We
trying to figure out a way
send
to
it to
get
the
this
committee
done.
if you request that. I mean, it's not really a budgetary.
Can you do a quick analysis of all employees who make less than $15 an hour, what their, and then the differential between what they do make and $15, and tell us how much it would cost
Yeah.
as part of the budget?
So then, let's pass this out.
Part of the
because-
budget or by resolution?
Let me just say, though, if you raise all the salaries to $15 an hour, that impacts.
No, we're not saying.
We're
just
just
saying,
talking
yeah.
about a study, that's what we're
Study,
talking
you
about.
have to study, how are you gonna impact somebody who's making $15.50 now, because you can't, because you're gonna bump the people above it.
No, that's not what the resolution
This is a
says.
study.
Not what it says. I just
Nothing
wanna know what
else.
it is for $15 an hour with the cost for pension.
Clarification.
With the cost for this, with the cost for that. All employees. That's it.
Do you want a resolution or you want to do this?
Why,
I'm asking the commissioner.
I
Trying
don't
to get
think,
this-
if the committee asks if
You've got to.
if it's something of that
Do
nature,
you feel
that's
better,
definitely possible.
do you feel better
but I
with the
don't think it's-
resolution, we'll pass it?
I want the resolution.
Are you,
Pass
I mean,
that
are you
on.
so swamped now with the budget?
For God's sake.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I just don't know if it's, I don't know if it's
Trying to be respectful.
being as part of the budget as if that is the case. I don't think that that's
Well, you
not.
report on the number of employees. Right now, you don't report on, the minimum.
Right,
What
if
is
the
the minimum
committee or
wage?
the
Salary.
legislature asks, of course we can provide that, no problem.
We could do it in about an hour.
Mr. Chairman, just to be clear, this is Mr. Signarachi's resolution.
Yeah, so you
That's
can
all
wind up
it's-
asking him, you can table it, and I'll be back here with Mr. Ethier, and I'll invoke the 60-day rule. So have your way. I asked for it to go out.
Yeah, that's fine. You want to go out, I'm just trying to get it done.
Let's move it.
And I'm very proud of you for saying.
There's no date, there's no date
I'll
on
be
it.
here with you next month.
You're not a,
There's no date
you're
on,
not a
what's the date
political
when this
puppet.
has to be responded to, once it becomes a resolution?
I'm sure that they will give it to us in time that they do.
Fine,
I know
okay,
budget
you-
season's
I'm
coming
trying
up,
to get it
and
done with the budget, but if you want to wait another year or two,
we'll
Ms.
I
Wellingham.
just got a question about feasibility studies. Is there a cost for feasibility studies?
well, yeah, he's got time,
His
effort, and energy.
His time, that's it.
Yeah, he's under
Computer. It's all based.
I was trying,
It's not over
trying to get at
5,000.
that.
Can I just finish I keep hearing the request for feasibility studies, just like they're free and that, there's nothing, it's just, you can just add, well, somebody's got to do it. And
That's why I was asking the commissioner if he could do it without it being a big,
Not that I'm, and don't misunderstand me, not that
trying
I'm
to get it
saying that
done.
what you're requesting does not have merit, but it just seems like we're getting more and more into these feasibility studies. So I just want to know, is there a cost to these feasibility studies? And is the cost dependent upon what we're asking for too? How extensive the feasibility study can be?
It probably does not rise to the necessity of preparing a fiscal impact statement, let's put it that way. But there is a cost, there's an administrative cost, it's a workload issue, some people have to do it, and then they gotta report, send it to us, and then Ralph has to spend time reading it.
So with his request, again, on his, is there a time
We're
frame that?
gonna amend it, but then we're not gonna amend it, because council doesn't want it amended.
But-
So
but-
it's not a feasibility study.
Mr. Chairman, that was not stated. I want to make that clear for the record, just to be clear.
So is there a time frame attached to when you
There's
want
not.
this?
I'm
Okay.
sure that they will wind up getting it to us when they can.
Okay, all right, thanks, you answered my question.
Mr. Bergdorf.
May I? Mr. Commissioner,
Thank you.
could you put this together for a spreadsheet for Mr. Signarachi and send it to Mr. Signarachi and the rest of the committee within a week?
I think that's doable if my request is that's.
Then,
Not feasibility. That was my question. Paul.
I get you, but
That
I'd
was my
like,
question, so we can just get this thing moving, so Mr.
we'll move it out.
Gets
It's
the
already
answer.
just
moved
move it
to the
out.
committee.
Fine, we'll move it out.
Move it out.
Then you're not
That's what I said.
gonna
Take a year now to get it done.
By the time we pass it, you'll have the
All the
information.
feasibility.
We have a motion by Mr. O'Brien to move this out. Mr. Chairman.
Brian, you
Mr. Commissioner.
Move it out.
Motion on that?
Yeah, just move it out. It's a long night.
second?
Second.
Joyce? How are we moving this out? Favorably? Is that what your recommendation is?
Yes.
All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
Table, item number 9 is tabled, but we're currently working on that with council.
Number 9 is tabled.
Thank you.
I didn't first I ever seen it.
Number
Have a great
10,
night.
Next month. Sure.
local law P
Gotta
for
regulate that.
2018.
Let me bring me umbrellas.
We had the public hearing last night. Mr. Chairman, you want to address this? This is
That's
the
why you want to.
committee, please, gotta get done here. This is the local law on the mortgage recording tax.
I have no specific remarks, just hoping we can move it out.
No speakers.
So moved, so moved.
Mr. Joyce, seconded by Mr. O'Brien.
What are we doing?
That's what I just said.
What did you do?
Mortgage
All those in favor?
No, it's
Aye. Yeah, mortgage recording tax.
10.
Okay.
Moving on.
11, local law Q for 28, we have a no.
Hold on a second.
Votes, the votes.
Accuracy's sake, I want to get the votes. There's a no.
Was not unanimous, there's one no. Right?
Anybody else?
Bergdorf?
Are we voting for, are we on 10?
Are we voting on
We're
10?
on number,
Voting on 10.
I'm also a no.
Okay, and what's the hole in the budget if this does not get
Oh, state.
passed?
there's millions of dollars associated with these.
Which also goes to municipalities. Okay,
We do every year.
so we have 2 no's, Mr. Bergdorf?
No, I'm not a no.
You're a yes?
I'm a yes on both of them.
We have 2
We're voting
no's.
on 10?
2
We're
no's.
voting on 10, yes. Voting on 10.
It passes, it's being reported.
Ms. Willen, I just want to make sure we have your vote. You're a yes on that?
Moving out the mortgage tax.
Yes.
Yes.
You're a yes?
11, local law Q for 2018, local law, this is the hotel motel occupancy tax in Albany County.
Motion move.
By Mr. Joyce, seconded
Just
by...
as a point of clarification, and sorry, Mr. Chair. Currently, there is a space in the first paragraph where there's a blank, where there's a chapter number is assigned by the state. When it was first originally submitted, there was no approval by the state. The state has since approved it. The chapter number in there should read Chapter 134 of the laws of the state of New York.
Okay.
So we have to go back to another public hearing because that changed.
No, that would not be necessary. So that would just be,
We need a motion to amend it, to add that in.
Same motion by Mr. Joyce, seconded by Mr. O'Brien to amend it. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. On the main, local law, Q, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chairman is opposed.
Okay.
And I'm opposed because of the visitors bureau.
Hotel occupancy. Yeah.
$3 million.
12 and 13.
So that was 11. Now we're on to 12, local law R for 2018, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, prohibiting Albany County government from assisting in the investigation of citizenship or immigration status of any person. Table. And we already did 13. 14. Now we're on to 14, adopting the 2019-2023 Albany Capital Plan. Questions from the members? We had capital plan committee discussed changes and we made corrections to things that were out of date that we talked about.
Public hearing's already been.
Okay.
Motion, second, Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Are we done?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Willingham, second, Mr. Clay.
I'm gonna get into that list here.